This is Hemant Pardikar, who has been working in banking for over 25 years. And so, Hemant, could you tell us what are the various career options for students who wish to work in the financial industry?
You mean financial services industry, is that right?
Sure.
So financial services industry is a quite broad category. It's not just banking. It's banking, insurance, investments like a mutual fund industry. It's stock market trading. It's advisory for high net worth individuals, and plus it's advisory for the companies as to how they should manage their finances. So financial services industry is a very broad term. And what do you need to do to be successful in financial service industry? See, when I started, those were different times. I joined bank in 1975, in really prehistoric times as far as you guys are concerned. Okay. I did my MSc in mathematics and then joined banking. I have no formal education in either finance or accounting. But what I had is analytical skills because of my post-graduation in mathematics. And that helped me to learn everything. Everything is written in English after all. And if you can read English and apply yourself diligently, you can learn anything. Okay. But now the financial industry has changed from our times. Okay. Now what is going to happen here is financial industry is going to change furthermore. Actually, it's an IT and communication industry incidentally dealing in money. I'll reframe financial industry like this. Information technology and communication industry incidentally dealing in money. Okay. Point number one. Point number two is banking or any financial service is first about people and then about money. For example, banking. Our primary commodity is not money. It comes only later on. The first commodity is confidence in the bank. People's confidence in the bank. That is the first commodity. You have seen some incidents like Yes Bank and all that, when suddenly people queue before, once there is a bad news, people queue before the bank to withdraw their money. You have seen this thing. You know, in 1999, there was a rumor that ICICI is going down and under. And there was huge queues before ICICI Bank, and even Reserve Bank of Governor had to come on the TV and give in national news, he has to give a statement that there is nothing wrong with ICICI Bank, it's very sound. It took some time before all that panic subsided, but in the meantime, 640 crores were withdrawn in cash from ICICI Bank. Okay, so the first primary commodity is confidence in people have in you and your institution. And if that is gained and retained, money will come automatically. This is true for any kind of financial service, whether it is insurance, whether it is mutual fund, whether it is stocks, whether it is advising HNI customers. Everything will depend on how you can inspire and retain the confidence of your clients. That is how I define banking. So that is why when initially I was in retail banking, and 14 years I was a branch manager, and then I came to corporate banking, and then so on and so forth. Then from a nationalized bank, I migrated to private bank, etc., etc. So what I have always found is, once you inspire people, people have a confidence in you. money will come automatically. Business will come automatically. And even for giving loans, what is really important is to understand the borrower very well. And this is applicable for corporate borrowers as well. The culture of a company is decided by the promoters. And there are companies who have a great culture. There are companies who have very culture which could have been far better. So it's about that. And second thing is, you must learn economics. You must learn something in accounting. Great, initially degrees in all this may be useful, but that is necessary but not sufficient, as we say in the terms of mathematics. Good degrees are necessary, but they are not sufficient. I'm not even a BCom. But before HDFC Bank acquired my bank, I was head of credit. I wrote the loan policy of the bank. When HDFC Bank acquired our bank, etc., then that is how I came in HDFC Bank. That is how your dad knows me. Okay. So your dad was on the regional head on the business side. I was the regional head on the risk side. So that is how your dad knows me. Okay. So, and learning something in finance and taking a few degrees is always help. But what is most important is people sensitivity and understanding people and inspiring their confidence. If you dare, anybody who doing that and retaining that confidence, if you say a single word, utter a single word, you must be sure that you will be able to discharge that. Your oral word always must be better than your written word. If you write something, you promise something and renege on it, in a written promise, once in a while people will pardon you. But if you give an oral promise, you must always hold it inviolable. That is your real asset in financial industry. I'm giving a totally different perspective of financial industry. With me?
Yes. And so my next question is, are there any more skills a student who is interested in banking should acquire, or is that all?
First is, a banker must be an applied psychologist, as I have told you.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 minutes, he must understand the blood group of the client. I consider that as the most important skill of a banker. In 10 minutes, he must understand the blood group of a client. Blood group means not literally, but what kind of a person he would be, how capable he will be, how honest he will be in honoring his word, and so on and so forth. For that, in a class where we teach people how to give good loans, I used to teach body language. Okay. You may find this connection very funny, but it is not so. Second thing is, it's good to acquire knowledge in economics. It's good to acquire knowledge in accounting. It's good to acquire knowledge in corporate finance, and this always helps. But this is not sufficient. Third thing is, you must always look at big picture. Finance is not everything, and finance cannot be disjoint. What mistake we all do is, we all treat finance like physical sciences, like physics or chemistry or mathematics. These are social sciences and not physical sciences. So if by making it more mathematical, you're not going to make it more accurate. Mathematics always helps, and there is a lot of maths involved. In economics and a lot of math is involved, but mathematics always helps. But you must always know what are the boundary conditions, what are the assumptions under this econometric models are made, and then based on what are the limitations of the model and what is the big picture that it will give, understanding the boundary condition. That's what is very important. So, and then you must look at not just finance, you must look at his business, you must look at his own, the company's own competence, the manpower strength, the industrial big picture of the industries. You know, there are some industries where there's a cutthroat competition. There are some industries where no competition. An industry which is growing at 20%, and if there is a company growing at 15%, on an isolated basis, we'll say, wow, the company is growing at 15%. But the whole industry is growing at 20%, which means the company is a laggard. You know, you must always look at big picture in finance.
And so thank you so much, Hemant. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, welcome. Always welcome.